Hello, everybody. I'm Steph from the Old Schoolhouse, and today we are talking a little bit about blogging, a little bit about social media, and we have Heidi. Mosher.
Mosher. Yes.
Mosher. It's not like it's very hard. I just like, oh, which way is that O gonna go? Okay, Heidi Mosher. So welcome, Heidi. I'm so glad to chat with you on our
Thank
live
you.
stream today.
Thank
Uh,
you.
So Heidi is joining us because she is managing, I guess, would that be the right term? Homeschoolblogger.com.
Doing my best.
Mhm.
How's that?
Um, so I'm going to just mainly chat, let her share about what that site's like, maybe do a little screen share, and you can kind of see my boys have actually really, at my encouragement, my boys have created a blog on there as well. So it's a little bit of a learning opportunity for them. They are learning all kinds of cool stuff, and I love teaching them about that. Um, so we'll just maybe start right away into our questions here, Heidi, and you can. So tell us, just tell us basically what a blogger is, and what people are doing on there.
Okay, good. Well, hello, Canada. I'm so happy to be here with Stephanie. And I work for the Old Schoolhouse. And one of the joys of my job is connecting with people on Homeschool Blogger. So, if you've been homeschooling for any amount of time, you may remember there was a homeschoolblogger.com several years ago, and it was very big. It was before FaceTime, from what I understand, or excuse me, Facebook. and so that was something you may recall. And they decided to resurrect it a couple years ago, and it's a social media platform. It's also a place where you can blog. So there's really two ways to use homeschoolblogger.com. Short, we call it HSB. So if you hear me say HSB during this live stream, that's what I'm talking about, homeschoolblogger.com.
Mhm. All right. So, yeah, there's two very big components and two components that you actually don't need to do together.
Right.
Um, but let's look at the blogging side first. What are some of the reasons why people may want to start a blog? Just in
Well,
general, not even just on HSB, but
okay. Well, there are many different reasons. One might be if you have a product to promote, you might start a blog for that as a way to kind of spread the word about it. I've seen people do blogs just to stay in touch with family and friends. That's
Mhm.
kind of a neat option. I know there's one person who has been on Homeschool Blogger and had a private group there to update on her mom's illness. So that was a way that we could kind of encourage her through that, which I thought was really a lovely way to do so.
Mhm.
There's so many other reasons you could use it as a revenue source.
Yeah.
Some bloggers use it as a place to review books, for example, or homeschool curriculum. In fact, schoolhouseteachers.com, we do have some affiliate programs that you can get a link that would give you a percentage if you were to review on the site or things like that. So that's a really nice option. Um, in the Old Schoolhouse magazine, in our winter edition, our last issue was winter 22-23. There were several blogging articles. I don't know if you've seen
Mhm.
those, but they're really worthwhile. So you can dig through your copy of that if you have it, or you can look those up online.
Beautiful
Hey, yes.
copies.
Don't you love that snowman?
It is. It's a beautiful, beautiful cover.
It is. It is. I love those. They're so worth keeping, aren't they?
Hmm.
But you can, if you don't have the magazine, you can search online for the articles too,
Hmm.
or through the app. So there were three articles in particular. One was called The Homeschool Blogging, the Good, the Bad, and the Unexpected. And then another was called 10 Benefits of Starting a Homeschool Blog. And I just wanted to repeat what the author said in that article. It was Heather Vogler. She is actually on staff at TOS, and she's just a wonderful person. and
Mhm.
she shares great thoughts. She has a lot of experience. I think her blog personally is about 10 years old, something like that. So she recommended of her 10 ideas for starting a homeschool blog, three of them really stood out to me. And when one was the reviewing products, like I shared a minute ago. So a lot of companies will share products with you in exchange for an honest review. You can review books, homeschool curriculum, possibly household products. But
Mhm.
I had looked into reviewing books before, and since I didn't have a blog, I couldn't do it. So that's a great way to, kind of support your hobby.
Mhm.
Um, then we mentioned the affiliate opportunities for bloggers and selling your products. So Heather has many other great ideas listed in that article. So be sure to catch that. And then another reason people might start to blog is for kids. There is an article in that winter issue called Teen Homeschoolers Who Blog. And it was
Mhm.
really fun to read. And
Yeah.
I just love this idea of kids blogging. It's a great way to prep for life skills, learn some
Mhm.
writing, maybe some photography. And I happen to know there are a couple pretty amazing kids on homeschoolblogger.com who have started blogs recently. Steph can
Mhm.
speak to that.
Yeah, actually, I'll share a little bit the reason I started that. Now, I actually know a lot about website design. I have a server myself, where if I really wanted to actually put them on set up a website for them, like I could do it easy, because I already know all that stuff, right?
Okay.
But homeschool blogger, doing it on homeschool blogger, it's just simply putting in a bit of information, and then the blog is set up, and then you can design it. Really, there's lots of flexibility, maybe not as much as what there may be if you just went and built that, say like a WordPress blog. And this is built on WordPress. So anybody that might be familiar with that platform, it is a WordPress core website. So it has that same kind of functionality. The things that actually are kind of nice, about it, making it especially for kids, is that for one thing, you can't add a whole bunch of plugins because it's on a multi-site. The way that it is, it's more administratively done. The plugins would be added or used, but you don't do that. So that's actually kind of nice, to be able to have your kids. It's not anything that you need for the site. Um, if you don't know what plugins are, you can maybe search them up there. I won't go
Mhm.
into detail here, but the fact is that I chose to do it on Homeschool Blogger, to set them up on Homeschool Blogger, for that reason, that it's a little bit more limited in what they might fiddle around with, and also that it's already on a platform. So actually, when the boys post, um, when anybody posts on Homeschool Blogger, it does come up like in a feed, right? So there's a
Mhm.
feed somewhere. You can see that when you go on your like, so when I log in, I can see who's done, you can see who's done activity in groups and that too, but you can also, you see that who's done a blog post. And it's also a little, now it's still a public site. Like I can give the link, and anybody can go to that blog post. So I actually do use it in a way. I've given that, like, to my mom and some of the aunts and uncles of my boys, that they so I can give that link out to people, and that keeps them updated a little bit, how you were talking about, Heidi.
Mhm.
Somebody was doing that just to update on her life, on her mom's illness, and so it's a great way to do that. Now, the reason though that I actually wanted them to have a blog, and I've actually wanted them to have that for a while now, is it's just a way for them to be able to write. I do not have naturally gifted writers, for sure, in my two boys. They do write well when they sit down and they have a purpose for it. So I thought if they had a blog, so something, I told them they could make it whatever. So my one son has just mostly, he's doing focusing on animals, and we've got quite a lot of animals. Mostly it's been rabbits, but I think he's got a couple of our other animals in there, as well. So he's kind of just, and as we go along, he adds more categories, and kind of almost each post he makes, I get the opportunity to show him something new. And these are actually really good skills. I'm trying to practical. That's the word I'm thinking of. Really practical
Absolutely.
skills for our kids to be able to navigate technology. So knowing how to, resize. So we do a lot with images. I use Photoshop, but you can use a number of different, even free editing, image editing. But so they're learning skills in image editing. They're learning skills. So I go over it and edit, right? Make sure their sentence structure is right. Sometimes I give them suggestions on how to change their sentences, to make it sound a little bit better, right? Getting them to think about who's reading it.
Mhm.
So there's just all kinds of great life skills. So great opportunity to have your kids write on something, have the blog for something that is of interest to them. And if not, then just make it, it'll just be whatever. That's my other son is just done. So he's done a blog post on sourdough. He's done a blog post on hay. He's done a blog post on
Border collies? Was there border collies?
oh yeah, that was my
Right?
younger son. He did it
Okay.
on border collies.
Okay.
Yeah. So there's anyway, they're just kind of really doing it. It's not like it needs to be about all one thing. If they want to go way out in the left field and do a blog post and just share about what they had for dinner, then by all means they can do that. But it gives them a really open opportunity to, so they're learning about technology, and as well, especially
Mhm.
for my boys, I wanted it to be a good opportunity to get them just to be writing good full paragraphs. And so far we're just working on a paragraph. They're not getting
What
much more down.
Oh, what an
um
amazing idea though, Stephanie. I
uh-huh.
love it that you have your kids doing assignments as a blog. I mean,
Yeah,
how much
been
better
perfect.
does it get than that? And
Hmm.
otherwise, we're writing in spiral notebooks or,
Yeah.
just typing and printing out papers. So it's
Uh-huh.
such a great idea, and you can share your passions with him and your
Hmm.
knowledge, and it's
Yeah,
wonderful.
just because, and know that you do not have to be knowledgeable about a website to have a blogger on homeschoolblogger .com. For one thing, there is, so let's segue right into the other part. That's pretty awesome.
Okay.
There's groups on that, and I know actually one of the groups that are there is something with the title on get the most out of homeschool blogger. For
Yes.
instance, one of those groups there's actually a graphics group too, and there's so all kinds of different groups that are there already. But always the opportunity to grow more. So just tell us a little bit about the groups part and the social
Okay.
media part.
Sure. Well, there are actually almost 50 groups
Oh
on
wow, that's good.
homeschoolblogger.com, and
Uh-huh.
many of them are active several times a week, which is really exciting.
Mhm.
You just have to become a member, and it's free. Just register as a member, and then you can start joining whatever groups you like. There are many groups geared towards homeschooling, naturally.
Mhm.
There's an unschooling group, a unit studies group, classical education. There's one for learning foreign language. And then there are several others like, homeschooling through high school, homeschooling with little ones, which we all know is kind of a challenge. We can use a little support. Um,
Uh-huh.
so of the many groups, I feel like the beauty is its connection.
Mhm.
So homeschooling is a huge undertaking. And if you're homeschooling, it's wonderful to have a community. So
Mhm.
hopefully everybody has a physical local community that they can tap into for support, maybe in your church or through a co-op or at your library or whatever. But
Mhm.
it's also nice to have an online community. It's the
Yeah.
reality of the day is we are all online a lot. And homeschool blogger is a meaningful way and a worthwhile way to spend your online time.
Mhm.
I say, since everybody's looking for connection, this is really a warm and inviting place for that. Maybe a little different than the other alternatives for social media that are out there. They can get a little
Mhm.
negative and It's maybe not, it doesn't feel like the friendliest place always in the other platforms to pose questions. So the groups are a place to connect with like-minded home educators
Mhm.
and ask questions. Or if you have been homeschooling for a while, you surely have experience to share. And this is a easy way. Pop on there 5 minutes a day and, hey, how can I help somebody today? Someone's
Mhm.
struggling with whether or not to do the ACT or SAT testing. I don't know if you do that in Canada. Is it
Mhm. Not
ACT?
really, but
No.
yeah, familiar with the terms.
Okay. All right. So like high school, college
Mhm.
exam testing or anything, any topic you could think of, special needs, spelling, penmanship. Maybe you can offer what worked for you. Maybe you don't have time to sit down and write an article, or
Mhm.
maybe you don't have time for blogging, but certainly you can pop on and share what worked for you, ask questions, whatever you like.
Mhm.
And then for the groups, you are very welcome to start your own groups as well. Um, you could start a group for your province. That'd be kind of cool.
Mhm.
You can connect with people in your area, maybe share field trip ideas specific to your location or travel ideas, or homeschool events happening there. You can start it on anything really. Someone started one on healthy eating. I'd love to see one for working moms. That'd be kind of neat, wouldn't it, to kind of share
Mhm.
what works for you there. So start those groups. You could even start one like for your local co-op. It
Mhm.
would be a great place to communicate with your group.
Yeah.
A church could start one there, whatever you like. So,
Mhm. So I'm gonna pop over. I'm actually gonna share my screen, and I've just got the groups part open right now,
oh,
and I'll
great.
just I'll just kind of go a little bit and even just share a little bit what I use it for.
I want to know your favorite
Um,
group too, Stephanie.
let me. I want to grab this one. All right. All right. You can see my screen there now. Great. Okay, so I'm going to, so this is the groups page. So you can see this is red up here. So I've just clicked that link right after I logged in, and it just shows all the groups down here. So you can see, so it shows all the groups. I can also just go to my groups, and here I could create a group. And I've created a couple. I've created one for Canadians, and it's pretty quiet there. So we need more Canadians on the platform. And I tell you, I like this. I know that, I mean, we're streaming this on Facebook. There's groups there. We actually have a group there, homeschooling with the Canadian Schoolhouse. Um, and and it's okay to be on there, but one thing I find about using Facebook, now I'm not a really big social media person on the personal side.
Mhm.
Um, I don't spend a lot of time on social media, but what I like about this is that it for one thing, I don't have to um I do actually, that's the only thing I really do social media for, a lot for my work with the old schoolhouse, but a little bit for my own interest too is on homeschooling. That's really all I care about, finding those connections. And so here
Mhm.
it's pretty much all about homeschooling, or like one, so it's not just homeschooling though, it's like family life,
Mhm.
because homeschooling is really, it's like a lifestyle, right? So it's not just about education. We've got homeschool podcasts here. I like that one because we just started our podcast, the Hey Mama Homeschool Show,
Yes.
that that we'll be doing regularly, from the old schoolhouse. So I think
And
we've
you
got.
can see
I think I saw your post in there, Heidi. Right? Did you
yes,
post? Actually,
I
let's go right
did.
into that one.
And next week we release Stephanie's first
Uh-huh.
podcast of the Hey Mama Homeschool Show. So be sure to come back on Monday and catch that.
Hmm. So here is our. I'm just going to give it a second to load here, but it's going to go to the activity here, right? So, I mean, it's really just like most social media sites, right? You can do a post right into the group. Like I could say something right now, whether I ask a question or whether I want to put something, you can put links, and then this would just show up. I'm sure you just did that, right? This is just the link
Mhm. Mhm.
that you added there. So it automatically kind of brings this up. Oh, let me see the read more here. Oh, okay. Yeah, you put a whole bunch of text there. So it just starts with that little bit of text like we see in most social media sites, right? And then you want to read more. You can see all the different places where you can go and see the whole part of what the post is. So Heidi's post right here, and then of course just link and go to wherever that wherever that post is going. So we've
Mhm.
got yeah, all kinds. There's a homesteading group here. I think there's like a there's another one that I kind of like their regular. Oh, maybe the graphics one. I've been on there a few times. So really it's in hobbies, I think there's one like I feel like there's one for knitting, crocheting, something like that
Yeah.
as
Do
well.
it DIY.
So
Yeah.
mhm. So we're really just all these different and so then you can also see so we got kind of this feed at the side where it tells you where they're all going to be um what was most recent, what was most active there. So it is coming to be a really nice little spot here. And it's growing. So we're at oh,
Mhm.
let me do my stop sharing here. Yeah, so it's growing. It's been 2 years? Has it been since it's kind of been since it's
I
resurrected,
think
as you
so.
said?
Yes, I believe
Mhm.
so.
And I
Yeah.
know we've got talks in the background. We're just going to change a few. That is pretty much, from what I heard, right? I think I got this right. It's pretty much how it looked, the decade or so ago. They just maybe changed a few things with it. So there
Mhm.
is going to be a little bit of a different layout on it. We're going to do a few little updates on it in the background, but really it is a great site to go to right now. It's great to just sign up and become a member there. Does all the things like you get your email notices, and again the blog there. So actually, I'm going to oh, so a couple things actually. Let's give our resources that we have from so this week or this month, February. Our theme is actually so learning from bloggers. So we've got a few articles there. We've got one, and actually her article really came up. So if you can share that theme page, Christine, there in the links, there our theme of learn from bloggers. What is a homeschooler? But I believe is what the title is for that theme, but made me think of the one there. So Teresa Wiedrich, I hope I'm pronouncing her last name right. She's a homeschool coach, but she talks about her journey getting there. And she actually started blogging. Uh, More or less, it was kind of like her I don't want to say it was her outlet. Escape came to mind. I don't want
Mhm.
to say escape, but she did say how she went to a local Starbucks, and that's what she just needed that when she started homeschooling. And of course, when our kids are young too, it's like you need that little bit of escape. And she used it for that, but she also used it to be a really good way, a bit of a record as well as what she was doing with her kids and her family as a whole, I'm sure. But also, it gave her an opportunity to really just think out things more, because once you start writing things down or even getting the opportunity to talk about them, things really become much more clear in your mind. So I mean, to have a homeschool blog, just simply to share about what you're doing with your kids, and it can be about homeschooling for sure. Obviously
Mhm.
it's great to include all that learning stuff in there, but really it can be about anything you're doing with your kids, right? What's
Sure.
the
Absolutely.
I've got a blog on there as well. I do have another more business blog, but this one is homesteading, homeschooling, and home business, and that's because that's pretty much my life, right?
You're a
I
busy girl.
uh meshing all those together, and I don't really have that many posts on that site because that is definitely my hobby blog, and I
Mhm.
and I enjoy writing things there. I recently did a trip from, I shouldn't say a trip, a move from Ontario to Saskatchewan. So I shared a little bit of my that experience and really just testimony of God working in our lives in that experience as well. So I'm using that really as a, and that, you know, when I wrote that blog post, for instance, I felt like I really needed to share that story. And so there was my outlet. It's much
Mhm.
better. I found it much more rewarding that I shared it, and I've even shared it with a few people. Oh, here's my, because I've told it a few times. I'm like, oh, check this out. I just wrote about, and I've got a whole bunch of pictures there, right? So some people are asking about family and that are asking about pictures, and I'm not great about sending pictures, but I put them in blog posts pretty good. So I'll have to use
That's
that as my
lovely.
communication method as well, like
Mhm.
you talked about, Heidi, before, like just to communicate with family and let them know what's going on. All right, well,
Mhm.
set this up. And the next thing I got to figure out, and I'm pretty sure we can do it with these ones. I mean, you can do it with WordPress, so I'm pretty sure I can. I just got to set up somewhere where they can sign up and get the RSS feed. Um, I know that's not your side, that not the technical side, but have you heard of anything like that?
I know who could help you.
Yeah.
You can ask Joanne.
Yeah, I'm gonna reach out to her too. If I'm gonna go on and see if I can do it myself. I mean, it's Word. If it was just my other WordPress site, I'd be able to set it up easily. But
Okay.
yeah, I'll get to our tech, our wonderful tech person, Joanne,
Sure.
to figure that out.
Stephanie, I love it that you shared your move story on a
Mhm.
blog because I feel like that's a huge deal,
Mhm.
uprooting your family and going somewhere. Do I understand right? You didn't really know anybody there?
No, no, didn't
No,
know
that's
anybody. It was the
huge.
property, and that's kind of the God part of it because we were really just about the property, and we were looking around Ontario, and we were kind of free to move anywhere in Ontario, because that's just where we've always lived. And
Mhm.
then I don't know, both my husband and I kind of got that in our minds, like, why do we have to stay in Ontario? When so much cheaper property was elsewhere. So
Oh, okay.
that is what drew us, and the property that we wanted. So that's what we were drawn to the property. It didn't We didn't know anybody here. Um,
But what an encouragement for others who may be facing a move. "Hey, Stephanie did
mhm.
it. I can do it too. It's gonna be okay."
Exactly.
Maybe
And
even
I
better.
think I think that's one of the greatest things about blogs, especially almost when you're doing it on a more personal level. Like, not to say you can't, because we've got another blog post on our theme page from Lisa Marie Fletcher, and she runs the Canadian Homeschooler. There's actually a conference, Canadian Online Homeschool Conference. I believe it's like the seventh year that's going on.
Mhm.
But that's her baby. That's her, that she puts that conference on, and I believe pretty much single-handedly. She's a busy,
Mhm.
busy woman. She's homeschooling, I think 4 kids as well, but she talks a little bit about her journey, as well as starting in it, and it wasn't necessarily starting it to make money, but how she made it make money. It was just a general interest. She just wanted to share what she was doing with her kids, as far as homeschooling. And I think that's such a big encouragement. So many people, we have that on our site as well. We welcome articles from adults and teens to share about their homeschooling life, or share about topics that would be good for other homeschoolers to learn. And that's so we would publish that right on the Canadian Schoolhouse. But it's great to be able to start your own blog and be able to share just all that stuff, and just throw it on there when you feel like it. It doesn't matter whether it's long, it doesn't matter whether it's perfectly edited. A
Mhm.
blog it's almost like a little bit more real, not to put down the professional blogs that are out there, or especially we've got lots of articles and content on our various sites of the old schoolhouse, the Canadian Schoolhouse, and schoolhouse teachers even has just article type of stuff on there, and that's great. It goes through a great process to make sure it's real professional looking. But when you go to a blog of someone that's just sharing their life, it's like it's almost
Mhm.
a little bit, it's more like that intimate conversation. and
Mhm.
and I think that's what we're really going to see with homeschool blogger too. We're just going to see that
Yes.
because it's got the blogging and the social media in one, right? So those blogs get generally shared to a group. A blog post can easily get shared to a group. Let's not say
Mhm.
it's always there.
Mhm.
There's a part in there where it's showing what those posts are, and it's pretty much just to the homeschooling community, right? So people
Mhm. You have to be a
can,
member, so
yeah, can see what
yeah.
those are. So you're like in a little bit of a protected community. Protected may not be right, but private community. But at the
Mhm.
same time, it is, it's a public website. It's, you can share that with family and friends, and but it's just, yeah, it can just be a real personal connection that you can make with other people. And as you said, like, and I think that's like just the perfect thing to focus on, like, um coming to homeschool blogger, you can just be able to encourage a lot of other people that might be either going through that same thing, and it could be great things, and it could be, all our hills and valleys in life.
Right.
um that when we can share that, that's really what we're meant to do, more so, right? Just be able to
Yes.
share a little bit about our life, because that is undoubtedly going to help somebody.
I love that. Yeah, honesty, to an extent, is always
Mhm.
a lovely thing because everyone has trials and we don't have to all appear polished and perfect. And,
Yeah.
we can use our trials or challenges to help other people. So if
Mhm.
that's something you want to blog about, you really might touch just the person who needs it that day,
Mhm.
or even in one of the groups, if you just get on there and say, "Hey, this worked for me," who knows, you might be turning someone's day around, and I just really love that idea.
Yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
so do I. All right. Well, thank you very much, Heidi. I think we'll wrap this up now, unless there's anything like that's just bearing on your mind you want to share with our viewers here.
No,
Um,
I'm really happy to be here. I live
mhm.
just across the border in Michigan,
Yeah.
and
Oh, yeah,
I've
you're not too far. So
been
you get the
here.
same weather as us, more or
Yes,
less.
it's cold. I've been to Ontario several times. Our family got to march in a homeschool marching band in Niagara Falls for
Oh,
Canada Day
cool.
once, so that's a very special memory.
Uh-huh.
And next time I go to Canada, I wanna hit Prince Edward Island.
Oh, awesome.
So
Yes, just a little gem there. I've only been there once myself, but
okay,
I have a friend that recently moved there, so it's fun to talk to her and hear
that's
little
right.
stories from there. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much, Heidi. And thank you all for viewing, for watching. And feel free to put questions in the comments of this video. If you're watching the recording, uh, put some comments or questions. We definitely watch this, and so we can watch our comments, so we can answer any of your questions. You could also just reach out to us and message us on our Facebook page. So you can go to the Canadian Schoolhouse, just depending where you're watching this right now. Just search the Canadian Schoolhouse on Facebook, and you'll be able to find us, and just message us there, as well as our website, thecanadianschoolhouse.com. You can visit us there and see the wide array of stuff we have for homeschooling
Mhm.
families. All right, bye for now.
Goodbye.